can just go directly to our profile on Twitter. Then you can find this button with cash and send your donations in Ethereum. Well, okay, let's start. So today we have an amazing guest and also one of the most beloved artists by founder of the Omakase Show, Tinek. And we are having original goldcat as an artist who she has a strong background being a freelance illustrator, but then she also switched to being a full-time artist, and her artwork was commissioned at Christie's auction house. So we will be discussing all of this. And hi, and thank you so much for joining me today. Can you please tell us more about yourself and how you got into this space?
Hi. So, hello, first of all. I'm Goldcat. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm an artist, digital artist mostly. I do a lot of other mediums as well, but digital painting is my main forte. And I've been minting my work using the blockchain since 2021 when I discovered it, and have been very active in the Tezos scene and also Ethereum. And yeah, it's been a wild ride, lots of ups and downs, a lot of learning, and yeah, it's a privilege to be able to do this, and I'm very grateful for my journey so far, and I'm excited to where it's going.
That sounds really interesting. And so I've been reading your article, which is kind of an interview where I'm quoting you said, "My art is a constant balance of the sensitive and the bold." And can you please explain what it means and then also kind of explain to me your creative process and how you create your artworks?
Sure. So the sensitive and the bold was said in regards to, first of all, the brush strokes. It's all about brush strokes for me. And you have this tension between very forceful, strong mark making, and then also the details, the detailing, the emotion, the getting the little touches. And the balance between the two is what makes art really exciting for me. It's not over explaining the painting. I don't like doing all the detailing, explaining it all for the viewer, leaving some things just with pure energy. I don't know. That's what excites me, and I think that was like the main thing to me. It's like almost a musical rhythm when I paint. Like I start off with this intuitive mark making without overthinking, with big brush strokes. It's like I'm making a point, and then afterwards, I only then do I start zooming in and start listening to the piece and observing it. Okay, what have I just offered myself? And then I start going in, doing little touches and balancing some details and find little areas that interest me that I want to focus on. So yeah, it's all about that little dance of, the strong and the timid, and yeah, it's very emotional to me, and I hope it translates somehow.
It does. It definitely does. And in terms of medium, I think it's oil on canvas, but then you also make a digital version of it, or not?
This is actually digitally native. So I start digitally, I finish digitally. This is completely, there is no physical aspect in this one. The one that you're showing, Heard, my recent Tezos piece, is also completely digital. And it's made with a lot of layering, texturing, and brush strokes that have their own life. So, yeah, when I was illustrating, it was all about knowing what I was going to do. And now I've found this way of making it interesting that the artworks kind of surprise me. Uh, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but yeah, all the texturing is, I've, I don't like the clinical feel of that you sometimes get with digital art, with digital painting. So I was really searching for a way to bring almost a something that you could touch, you know? but you can't because it's intangible, obviously. I don't know. It's a constant exploration for me, and I'm nowhere near the end, um, because I don't want to imitate oil paints. That's not the goal. The goal is to find its own textures in the digital medium. So I'm starting to play more with breaking pixels, breaking the colors to their extremes, using curves in Photoshop. So I'm mainly using Photoshop as a software, basically.
I'm extremely impressed. I was so sure it's oil on canvas, and I believe it's like extra hard to kind of to recreate this feeling using only digital mediums. But then also one thing that caught my attention, and I cannot avoid talking about it. There is this piece which is called in Ukrainian "Палаючи заради миру," burning for peace.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm also Ukrainian, so I thought it was like translated on my desktop, but the original naming was in English, but then I checked it out. Can you tell us more about this one?
This was organized by Tezos people, which I think is amazing. The amount of charity work and just like organizations of people that get together and just try and gather funds for people is amazing. There's been so many instances where this has happened, and this is one of them. This was, I think, at the start. Was it at the start of the war or just after it started? I don't remember. It was quite a long time ago
It's
now.
like, if I'm translating correctly, February to Ukrainian name of this month, it is like 4 days
Yeah.
since the beginning of the invasion, like nearly like really early one, like
Yeah,
super,
yeah.
super early.
So yeah, people got together and said, let's do something. And I said, yeah, definitely, because we're all affected by it, not as much as you and the Ukrainian people, obviously, but we're all feeling for it. And I don't know, it's the least that we can do, to spread awareness and, I don't know, do our little bit to somehow help or feel like helping. I don't know. But yeah, this was
Thank you so much. It's highly appreciated.
I love the Tezos people for this. It's just there's so much going on philanthropy wise, and I wish Ethereum would do more in that regard as well.
That's a really nice network when it comes to like humanitarian aid. Also, what I want to discuss is the fact that you have this strong international background, which is Germany and also Kenya. Can you tell us more about it and maybe in what ways this background may have shaped your vision and your artistic practice?
Yeah, of course. So I was in Germany until I was 10, and in '99 we moved to Kenya. Um, I was a child. I didn't have much to say about it then, and I hated it. I hated moving from my beloved childhood home, being taken to a different country, a different culture. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know the language. Start a new school with people I didn't understand. So that was a crazy moment, and I wouldn't want to do it again. But in hindsight, it was so 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 valuable for me as a human, and I think the most effect it had was on my personality and on my worldview, and that in turn had has a really strong influence on my art, of course, because the art is an extension of myself. So it kind of, I would say it opened my worldview, obviously. I realized there's not just one way of doing things. There's not just one truth. There's so many cultures, so many ways of living, so many ways of seeing things and experiencing things. So yeah, just I think it just opened a lot of empathy for people, for other people, for, I don't know, for just seeing other parts of the world, that I'm not the center of the universe. And I'm really grateful for that. And also, what also got affected is, I think, because my whole life was uprooted when I was 10. I had to find my footing again in the new country. um, and like almost a new personality. It was a very, it's a very formative time when you're starting to be a teenager. So it also made me very resilient to change, and I love change, and I'm not afraid of change these days, and that also is very strong in my artwork. I have no problem deleting things. I have no problem erasing complete artworks and restarting, changing something if it needs changing. And that's really, really important to my art process, I think, which I also see in my digital pieces. It's just a lot of risk taking, that you have to be okay in your mind to not be precious with your art if you want to find what is truly you, or what's the best the artwork could be. Yeah, so it's a lot of change to my personality that in turn is a change to my art, I think.
That's that's a really nice point, and I feel like a lot of artists are going through these processes when they are becoming full-time artists. Also, while we are viewing this piece, The Dreamer, in my head, it's like Chile. Is this the correct interpretation or not? Because there is his self-portrait, and basically he also like, is sitting in this position, and just reminds me of Egon Schiele.
Oh, I don't know. People say that quite a lot about some of my pieces. I love Egon Schiele. I haven't spent that much time with his work, but I absolutely love, long limbs, um, uh, the strong shapes of the bodies. So no, it's not intentional at all. And I think this was I had some reference pieces up on my computer looking at, I think they were women. So it just, I don't know, it takes its own life at some point while I'm painting it, and then it just turns out what it turns out. But it wasn't intentional, no. But thank you. It's a great compliment.
Thanks a lot. Okay, I got it. Also, there is this kind of discussion, and I do believe I had other webinars with other artists, and they were telling me how complicated and scary it was for them to quit their full-time job and start being a full-time artist. And I know you've been through this as well. So you used to be a freelance illustrator, but I do believe that now you're kind of full in on being an artist. Can you share this journey and in general how rewarding it was? At what time you started to feel confident with proceeding and this chapter of your life?
Yeah, I think I have to go back a little bit before my freelance life, because in 2016, I had been doing 4 years of office work at an engineering company, a job that I had trained for, and it was slowly crushing my soul, and I didn't really know why. I felt I wasn't meant for this. Is this everything that life has to offer? It was very dramatic in my head, I think. And I found digital art as an outlet, and it brought me back in touch with the stories, with imagination. I was hugely inspired by Lord of the Rings, and the making of, and that people actually made a living, creating these magical worlds, just making up things basically. And that was my introduction to illustrations. And when I quit my job, and it was the easiest thing I had ever done. I hated my job so much. But yeah, I loved illustration. So this was already like a first step into more freedom, into finding what I wanted to do in life. And I did that for 3 or 4 years. So at the end of these 4 years, I had I had this new urge of being restricted through client work, because you are at the end always fulfilling someone else's ideas, or someone else's wishes, right? You're not drawing by numbers, painting by numbers, but basically you're painting by instructions, right? So this was, in turn, it felt very, very constricting. increasingly so. And I had this moment of oh my god, like is this not it after all, you know? Um and also it's just really really hard to make a living of it. And then right in that moment when I was already thinking of getting a job as a concept artist or something else just to change it up, um NFTs appeared. So this technology that you could make your digital painting an original or editions and sell those pieces, and meaning you weren't reliant on client work or commissions, you know. So that was, I was like, what? This is possible, you know? This is like godsend. This is amazing. Like such a step towards autonomy of artists who paint digitally but who can't sell their canvases, you know. So it was like a I was I was so surprised when not every one of my illustration colleagues were like, wow, this technology is it solves an issue that will help us. No, they were all very anti this technology, and it was so weird. So I just decided to not start it under my real name, but to create Goldcat, the art alias, because I just didn't want to have these discussions all the time with my illustration people. And then yeah, one thing led to another, and it was everything I had hoped it would be. And
It's just, wow, it took so long to get it back. Okay, hopefully you can hear and see me right now. Is this correct?
yes, you are back. I can see you.
I will just go all on presenting anything because I don't know, it's just so baggy today. And yeah, sorry for this long waiting time. And hopefully we are good and back. And we kind of finished on this part where you were telling us how you transitioned from working at this engineering company to being a full-time artist. That you remember this day because you hate this job, but then also you found a lot of struggles at first when you were just trying to explore digital art.
Yeah. I think you missed quite a bit of my monologue there. So I'm, I'm not.
That was a chance to feel like YouTube vlogger, when you're talking one on one with the camera.
Oh, it's yeah, that's one of my nightmares actually. I already don't enjoy talking about myself too much. So so being there by myself, but I didn't realize I was just going on and going on. I didn't realize you had gone. So
Sorry, it
anyway,
happened before.
if someone was listening, then I think yeah, I said a lot about, yeah, that it was just constrictive, restrictive, you know, having to do client work in the end. And I discovered the blockchain technology and being able to make your own work and not rely on commissions and painting instructions. Basically, you know, you don't have to work for someone else. And yeah, I'm really grateful for the technology and the amount of possibilities it's created for us digital artists. It's amazing, and I still can't believe that so many digital artists. As I said earlier, the illustration colleagues, they were so against this. They were very biased against NFTs and everything. So and still are. And they just can't get over that initial rejection and see what amount of possibilities and freedom this can actually give digital artists. So yeah, very surprised by that still, but I'm very grateful I took the plunge and it happened how it happened.
And so basically, you took this whole journey and you developed your career path in digital art, and then your artwork was sold at Christie's auction house. Can you tell us more about this experience and how it felt and how it happened, and in general, if it changed something in your artwork and how you create it?
Yeah, Christie's, that was mostly surreal. um, hard to hard to grasp. I hardly had any time to panic because I immediately had to get to work when I got the notification that I was invited to join Christie's 3.0 digital auction, and it was a surprise for me. Um, I don't know if it was one of the Cosimo Medici who was maybe advising them who would be a good fit or something. So yeah, if it was him, then I'm very very grateful for that because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, obviously. And you can say what you want about these auction houses, but it is a major acknowledgement of, yeah, you are on the right path, so yeah, it's instills a lot of confidence. And I think that's also somehow I embody that in the artwork by just going with the flow. Don't overthink it. Things will happen if you're just authentic and you trust yourself, and yeah, you go to where this freedom leads you, and you take the opportunities. So yeah, that was crazy, and it was just after I had started minting on Ethereum again, when they became proof of stake. Back in November 2022 was when I did this Christie's auction, and I think in October, the month before that, I had minted my first piece on Super Rare, the piano player. And so it was just after diving back into Ethereum that I got this opportunity, and it was crazy. It was amazing. Um, yeah, very. It's hard to still grasp that I got this opportunity. Absolutely amazing, and also very grateful for Chris, who got the piece, who went through the whole process of verifying yourself, which is a lot, to be able to bid at the auction. You have to basically lay bare your identity, which was very unheard of in the Web3 collecting scene, I would think. But yeah, very grateful he jumped through those hoops and went for it. And the swimmer is still with me. I mean, the pose is still a massive inspiration to this day. I keep going back to it. I also did my sculpture based on this, and yeah, more coming on that soon.
That's a really, actually, yeah. Okay, so 2 points. It's true, you have to review a lot of stuff. I was registering to kind of witness how Sotheby's auction, wife auction happened, and they required so many things just in order for me to be able to come and see how it happens.
Yeah.
So indeed, it's slightly different from digital art world. But I also wanted to talk about the swimmer, like the piece itself that was sold at Christie's. In general, can you tell us more about it and how it was created? Was it specifically crafted for this auction, or it was a piece that you created before?
No, this was specifically made for this auction, and it was at a moment when I was on my way traveling to Kenya. My family still lives there, so I go almost every year. And my whole setup is here with my PC, my Photoshop. I work on Windows computer, so I need that to make my work, but I also have my iPad. So I started the work here, and I did so many iterations, and I wasn't really happy with it. Um, I had earthy colors first, and yeah, I was kind of overthinking it. It's a lot of pressure when you have to create something for a huge auction house, and I started doing it, and I had to leave home without it being finished, and I only took my iPad Pro with me, and it was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna see what happens, and I'm just gonna continue this on my iPad Pro with a software that I'm not used to. And I did, and somehow it just clicked, it worked, and I sent it to them, and they approved it. So yeah, that was a major relief, and I was so happy with it, and I'm still really happy with it. Um, yeah, I don't know.
It's a
It's
really good
hard to
piece.
say more about it, really.
I really like this piece. I have a really weird question. I'm not even sure you remember this stuff, but if you do, what was the part that you had to continue on working on with your iPad? Maybe like some concrete brush strokes or something you remember you were kind of finishing on using the new software that you weren't familiar with?
I don't remember at which point I switched over, so I don't know at which part of the process. I just remembered that I started with him having a head, um, and I repainted the head so many times, and I changed the colors, changed the head again. You know, I removed the legs, I added the legs, so it was completely changed a lot of times. And the moment I think it clicked was when I removed the head, and um, I viewed it as below the surface, you know, and the head we can't see it because it's above the surface. So that really made the piece. Yeah, this is what the piece is supposed to be, and it just worked so well. And I think I also had a lower contrast. But I don't know if I did that on the iPad. You know, sometimes I go in and I go around the whole figure, and I change the background and the figure completely in contrast. So I first had a dark background and a light figure, and I switched that up. But I'm not sure if I did that on the iPad. But I think removing the head was a
I really
big
love
was the big move that I did on the iPad.
it is, and it also kind of makes sense since it is a swimmer, and it feels like it is this dissolving because of the movement and the water, and it just it looks really nice. It works here.
Thank you.
I also wanted to check on color combinations. Well, indeed, like all of your color combinations work really well. In my head, your art is just like, for me, it's more red. You enjoy like using red, but then this one is slightly different. So maybe you can also talk about the intersection of colors and how you pick which one you want to go for.
Sure. So when I when I started doing my digital painting, I usually start in black and white because I used to have a really big problem with getting contrasts right. So if I started in color, I would take so much longer to end up where the contrast was right in the picture, in the painting. And someone told me, you know, just start in black and white, start in grayscale, and add the color afterwards. That was, I don't know, this was like years ago. Yeah. So this was ages ago, but I'm still kind of mostly doing that. I'm starting in grayscale, and then I see where the piece is going and what colors it wants, and having this strong focus on contrast and values, it kind of calls for monochromatic colors. I also like to add just a little bit of touches of other colors in there, because it just livens up the piece. And but I don't know. I don't know what draws me to red and to blue. Um, but I think most of it is the monochromatic aspect. It's very striking. I don't fuss about little, you know, little flowers, little details, little somethings. It's again something that is speaking to the boldness of it, I
It
think.
makes sense. Yeah, it does. And
And I think it's also, I just wanted to add, I think it's also my strive to get away from realism, from naturalism. So I don't know, like talking to you now, it feels like I'm always trying to escape something and just feeling like I'm restricted and getting out of that. But it's true. In illustration, you have to be very careful about how you draw something. Anatomy, I had to learn all of that stuff. And I think I still do because I do my live painting every week. But you also have to unlearn that in order to create an interesting picture. So, so changing the colors and not using skin tones. First of all, skin tones are overrated. We all know that. And second, yeah, it's why not? Get have some freedom. I don't know. For me, it's exciting.
I think you are translating freedom through your art in a way that these brush strokes are made in a really like free movement in my head. And I even like when I saw it, I was so sure it should be physical canvas and then also a big one that would be like, I don't know, 2 meters, and then that you would be like really just moving across it with your hand. So this is something that I felt kind of transitioning through the artwork that you're
Hmm.
creating. I wanted to ask you, you had this whole journey and you started in the beginning of this kind of NFT trend wave and digital art was just popping. And considering this all in mind and where you are now, what tips you would give to digital artists who are just starting their journey, the emerging artists?
Um, so there's so much to say, and also so little because I think everyone always tells people what to do, and there are so many different ways of doing things, and also the bad word marketing. There are so many ways of marketing your world, your work, yourself, your art. There is not just one way. If you don't do public speaking, don't do it. Obviously, it's good to test the waters to get out of your comfort zone, just to find out what you like and what works. So always paying attention to what feels good to you, what works, and then trying something new. And also observing others, but not comparing yourself in a negative way or thinking, oh, that person is getting so much attention. Go in there and go look, what have they done? Why are they getting this attention? Don't look from a negative point. Try to learn from it, and you don't have to copy that. It's just information that you can use in your own way. So that's something I find very it's very, again, I don't know why I keep using the word restrictive, but it's true. People are restricting themselves when they just look negatively at other artists or at something they don't agree with. Um, you know, you don't have to pay attention to that. Obviously, there's a lot of shite art as well. But yeah, I mean, you can choose what you pay attention to, and please do that. I don't know. So that, and also just trusting yourself, being your own, finding what makes you you. It's so easy to say that, but it's so difficult to do actually. But leaving out the parts that you don't enjoy is also a way of finding your way, or finding your style, finding the way you want to talk to people. Um, yeah, and not being afraid of
I think
making mistakes. I think that's a big one too. Just try it out, especially on Twitter. People are so careful about what they put out there, but it's like a constant flush of information. Just put it out there. Don't overthink it. Um, and just don't be an ass. Some people seem to think that they need
well,
to
to be
rub
fair,
people the wrong way.
you can implement it in any space, like, any workspace there is, not only
Yes.
art world. You can just go for this advice and just do it.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of common sense, but we seem to lose it's a lot of little steps, and we always want that one solution. But there isn't one solution. It's creating what you want to see more of. That's a great thing too. Are you missing something from Web3? Are you missing sharing artists? What Start doing that. Start inspiring people to do that. Um, put some positivity out. If you hate positivity, you don't have to, you will find your own people that also don't like positivity. There's so many ways of doing it. Don't think there's just one way. And also just persevere. Like, don't care so much about what other people think. Just keep going, and after a year people have forgotten. And I don't know, as long as you're convinced by your own work, that's enough. And if you're not, find out what will make you believe in your own art.
I think it's truly valuable. Thank you so much for sharing. And so the final question would be, what are you working on right now, and what can we kind of expect to see from you soon?
Yeah, so lots of things going on right now. Right now, there's an exhibition in Galicia. I think it's called Galicia or Galicia, in Sarria. So this is Tezos based, and Sutan organized digital art being displayed in shop windows, in empty shop windows, in empty residential homes, and it's going on for 15 days. And the street is basically lit up with digital art, which is amazing. It's such a great idea. And there will be also a drop happening together with that on the 26th, so Thursday. And it's got amazing artists like Hoxit, Zutu, Strano, and many others. So that's happening right now. Then I will also continue my Mythos series on transient labs. So there's a new one coming out soon. Hopefully next week, this week, if I can manage, but I'm not sure. And then July is going to be big because I will be traveling to Cannes for the test dev on the 3rd of July. And I will be there because I had the honor of creating a curation for artists curate artists by Cyberforms. And so I'm highlighting 5 artists that made work especially for this exhibition. It's immersive, and I'm really excited to show that. I hope people will take care. The pieces are live already on Object, so that's going on. And then there is also my big sculpture reveal on the 4th of July, also in Cannes. And I'm making a huge bronze sculpture with Forgio Art, who are just the best team ever. And it's an exhibition with them and Gallery Data from Paris. And I'm traveling there as also, and it's just, that's one I'm really, really excited about because it's a dream come true to make a life-sized bronze sculpture. So excited to reveal that on the 4th of July.
That indeed sounds really exciting, all of it. On the sculpture part, by the way, this is something I have in mind. There is one Ukrainian artist, I used to collect her art, and she took like, I think for 3 months or so, the sculpturing courses to be able to create sculptures. And how was it for you? Have you had to kind of to get some knowledge around how to create them, or have you tried to delegate this part and you were kind of working on the whole concept instead of creating it yourself?
So for this bronze sculpture, obviously there are parts that I can't do myself. The the creating of the sculpture I did myself, and my mother was a ceramics teacher back in the day, so I know how to use clay, and I also did a clay workshop working of a live model, so that also helped me with understanding how to sculpt, and so I sculpted the figure out of clay myself, and then I went to the art forgery, and then in talks with them, we discussed how we were going to make a bronze, and they, what was I going to say? So they create a wax model of it, of the sculpture that I made, break it into parts, make the molds, put it in clay, pour in hot, I don't know, 1000-degree hot bronze. You have to wear these crazy suits for it. So yeah, I only got the pictures of that one, but it's amazing, and they work so closely with the artists too. So I keep getting pictures, and I don't know, it's a dream come true really for this bronze.
Sounds extremely exciting. Also, I found the swimmer sculpture that you also mentioned before. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. Also, say that I'm extremely sorry for my troubleshoots today, technical ones. And in general, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your vision, your art. I think it was truly valuable. And please keep us posted on everything that you're working on right now. And we are definitely staying in touch.
Yeah, we are. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I didn't rant too much. Didn't go off on
Not at
too many
all.
tangents. Yeah. Thank you. It was great. Really, really enjoyed it.
Have a lovely day. Bye.
Okay, bye bye.